I like to, at the start of the season, get all the parents in with the athletes and make it a joint effort. As in, as much as the kid and the athlete has to commit, it's as much as the parent to be on that same level. So I'm very big on honest.
This is Coach to Coach, where we talk junior basketball coaching in a relaxed, practical way. I'm Jace, and these are your fast break chats. Let's get into it. I am rather excited to welcome along to the Coach to Coach podcast today at Jerome Rama. We've crossed paths through the Nunawading Inspectors program, but you've moved on to the next stage in recent times. So thanks for being here, Jerome.
No
it's great to have you.
Yeah, cool.
We'll start off with my Fast Five, as I call it.
Yeah.
The first one is, how long have you been coaching?
Well, I think about 7 years.
Okay.
First team, I started assisting Waverley Falcons and just with the domestic stuff out of MIBA competitions where we started the Bandits and all that. I've been coaching for about close to 7 years now.
Yeah, great.
Switching from assistant to head coach.
Yeah, great. You played obviously before that?
Yes, I played. I played through. Played 14's latest top age through Waverley Falcons as well.
Yeah, great.
And then played a bit in the States and did some tours and all that. And
fantastic.
Come back and switch to the coaching side.
Great.
Yeah.
What teams are you currently coaching with?
So I've got the 14-1 boys at Waverley Falcons. We've qualified through to VC and had a round one just last week, which is good. Good result.
Yeah, great.
I'm obviously the age group lead there and skilled director lead. So I've got a role within and expanding. So
yeah, excellent.
Helping a smaller club kind of grow.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Why do you coach? What keeps you in the game?
That's a good question. I think the main part is staying connected with basketball. Like I've obviously had a couple of injuries here and there, and just found with private training and skills training and just coaching, it just feels normal. And when I take a break away from it just seems like something's missing. So I think ultimately I just like helping the athletes reach the best to their ability, and with experience and all that, I think I can help them, and in many aspects of on and off the court as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Was there someone who had an influence on the way you coach?
Definitely. So I had a lot actually. Main one is I was very lucky to be coached by Sadell Threet, senior, who played in the NBA for Lakers.
Yeah, wow.
He's still currently living in Melbourne, Victoria. But I got mentored by him. He taught me a lot of things, more from the mental composure and the defensive side, and really pumped my tires up when I was young, and kind of made me believe and showed me there was different levels to it.
Yep.
And I think part of that made me realise that I can kind of deliver a bit of that word and spread a bit of that gospel.
What a fantastic run-on effect of his coaching. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. And do you have a favourite player, professional player at the moment?
I do. I'm a big Suns fan, Devin Booker.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. We've been through the Suns journey since he got drafted. So he's been my favourite, just from how he plays and how he composes himself and just lifestyle, and just seems like a nice bloke.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. It's funny how you tend to resonate with like-minded people.
Definitely.
So excellent. So when we talked about what sort of thing we might want to cover in today's conversation, the thing that clearly you were very passionate about is your really exciting journey to the VC Championships of last season.
Yeah.
You're there again now, but you can reflect on that journey from last year wholly.
Yeah.
So tell us, where does that start? How does it look through the process, and what's involved?
Yeah. So it starts with a breakdown from obviously team selections all the way through the grand scheme of the season. I think, starting with how it starts is you kind of obviously had the 14-2s the season before, and that had a few bottom majors in there, and then we kind of had my eyes on, what it looks like and other things around and all that. So kind of, always strive for the 14-1s, told Nunawading from the start when I came in, like, this is what I want to do. I want to do the 14-2s into the 14-1s with the aspirations of VC, nationals and all that.
Yep.
I think when it came down to selections, it was a very deep and talented cohort from Nunawading, and it was very hard to choose, as the ones were VC and the twos were in Metro 1 in the top 4.
Yeah, right.
So
that's high level.
High level. So
because I think it's easy to say VC's like this top level, but VJL1 is also
VJL1 and a finalist team as well.
Yeah.
So it was a hard process, I think, and this is where it comes into play about how a team makeup comes into play.
Yep.
So how I usually tend to pick a team and how I like to is based on what the team offers on the court. So if it's a way of style, if we want to play fast and all this, I tend to pick the athletes that can play a role, and they don't necessarily need to be the best athletes skill-wise. So I'm a very big defensive first coach, and that's a huge advantage. So at trials, I'm looking at the defensive end, who's switching, who's communicating, who's hustling, bumping cuts, and I'm looking at, because I know most of those kids and athletes can score the ball. Like, they do it domestically.
Yep.
They do it, they can do it. So I think, picking the team off playing a role and mental composure and all that side, is a big one, because I think most times when I pick a team, everyone goes, that's probably not the 10 that I would choose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you see that as a starting point for that journey?
Yes, definitely. I think the kids and the athletes, they understand, and I think when players understand a role and parents understand their kids' role, it is much easier to fly and glide through the journey.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're picking 10 really skilled kids, it's always going to be a battle of who's the 5 on the court.
Yeah, who do you put where?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously you have to have your balance, and you have to have, your rebounding balance, your defensive balance, your scoring balance. Obviously, like Adrian said, you need scorers.
Absolutely,
which is definitely true.
Yeah.
So that's how it starts from the team selections point of view.
Yep.
Yeah. And then obviously that flows into obviously
the season. You're grading
practice games, and and that's the next important kind of thing. Like, I'm very big on using practice games as practice games.
Yes.
So during that season, we played, I can't remember the team, but we played a team, but we dropped it. Like, we dropped the game in the practice game to a team that we shouldn't have dropped.
Okay.
And I wasn't too worried, because that was the best thing for us. Like, got the film, had to look at it and go, yep, this is exactly what we need.
Yeah, okay.
As opposed to just smashing out a practice game, which I think some coaches and I was like that, just win.
Yep.
At the cost of what, I think these practice games that don't matter, it's the best time to get your season rolling.
It's almost get loose, isn't it?
Get loose.
Get out there and just see where does everyone sit, where does everyone, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses?
For sure, and then challenge them and put them in situations, put them in high pressure situations, so when it comes to grading and things like, these are your kids and these aren't your kids, and that's how normal teams work. And
absolutely.
So I usually tend to use 2 practice games to kind of test the waters. I throw a lot at them, because I think, especially younger 14s athletes, you're just trying to test how much they can soak in.
Yep.
And if they don't get everything, that's fine. You just don't.
Yeah.
You forget that space, and then you target, okay, they got this, they got that. We look good in this offense, or we look good in this defense, and that's you keep ticking those boxes, and you keep challenging.
Look, at a domestic level, in a game, I haven't got the experience that any of my guests have. However, I'm taking little bits and pieces from it each time, and I know that even in my domestic under-17 girls game, we played a zone for the first bit, a 2-1-2 press, and then a man in the last third.
Yeah.
The 2-1-2 press didn't work very well, but I sure as heck was pleased that I had a go at it. Because there was that opportunity to see where the growth is. So you got
to test the players out and see what they're exactly. And then usually I like to tend to use the last 2 to kind of go for that win, and just reinforce, like, that's especially the last game, because that's your last game before you head into grading. You want to win that one.
You want to be ramping it up, turning it up.
Definitely want to turn it up. The accountability on the defensive end, all that stuff, just on that last game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then practically you roll into grading nice and ready.
Yep.
And as grading hits, you obviously that's more you want to win. And you're doing, from all the info that you gathered through practice games and tournaments and trainings.
Yep.
And these are the ones that you must win, qualify straight through. So last season we got put in a tough pool, but we started in pool 1.
Okay.
We had Keilor Thunder, who ended up winning it all in the first grading pool. We ended up beating them by 1 point.
Wow.
In the first, just because we weren't perfect at all, but we'd got it enough to get to a point to understand how we played and what we needed to stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we bought into the defensive first
mentality,
morale, and that was probably the best thing for the cohort last season, as we weren't too big.
Yeah. Okay.
Keilor had 6'5", 6'7" kids and under 14s,
which is big for under 14s.
Oh, very big.
Far out.
Yeah, very big. So we understood that because we versed them so early that we could compete with the height as long as we defend and rebound and hustle and we're on the same playing level field. We've got 2 arms, 2 eyes, so no disadvantage there. So yeah,
absolutely.
So then obviously rolls in, qualified straight through. So we won, I think it was 3 games.
Okay.
And then that puts you straight through, and then you get put into a XX round, which are just another set of practice games, which I flow into the same thing, which is practice games, and then we're back into refining, sharpening for that main season. So
great.
Yeah, it's a very I like to take it slow. I don't think rushing it and going for the biggest scoreline is and it's for some clubs and teams it works, but my way is more. I want to see all the things that we don't do well, target it for next week, and target it to a point where we hit the season and we know that these things are no longer we struggle at.
Well, that was something that Kobe used to say. People were like, "How come you're never freaked out at games?" And he's like, "Because I've already practiced this."
Yeah, 100%.
It's just a game.
Yeah,
I've already done this 500 times. I'm going to do it 10 times tonight. Yeah, I've done it 500 times before.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure, and that's the thing, simulating the in-game situations. We did in our practices last year. We'd put the score 60 all. And have 7 seconds, and put them into these situations, and just see
how do they react?
Yeah, with no coaching or no timeout, we let them see what they do and all that stuff. And we do other situations 2 minutes and we're down by 10.
Okay,
so we don't say anything, and that's and then I think I remember one vividly, which was I put 2 minutes on the clock. They were down by 10, and the boys all ran a really sagging man to man.
Okay,
and they lost it. And I'm and after I corrected them, I said, "Boys, if you're down by 10, what do you need?" And I get them to answer, what do you need? We need stops. We need quick stops. We need quick baskets. So running that slower half-court defense probably isn't the best one. So it's getting that.
So what is the answer?
Go up, full court man, full court press,
Yep.
or whatever it is, because it's just, and it's getting them to do it, not, because I think a coach can easily make that adjustment, but it's better when the player knows what to do, because they can pick it up now and understand what's on our side, what's not on our side. And that's the same flip. If we're up by 10, now, offensively, we don't want to rush and take the first shot for 24 seconds as soon as we cross half. So we're getting through our offense, we're moving it, and we're just playing smart.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that. That's I'd never thought about those mini simulations.
Oh, yeah.
I can see.
It definitely comes down to help. We had a lot of close games last season, and we usually came out on top. So
because you'd taken the time to prepare for those situations.
Yeah. Well, I think the main part is it's not a shock to the system. If you come down to a 1-point game, if it's your first time you've ever been in a situation that season, you'll more tend to make that mistake or
absolutely.
error. Whereas if you've even trained it, even though it's not the exact same, you kind of know how to deal with it a little bit more, and you kind of know what to do.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's the
So you went through those crossover games? Is that what they
crossover? Oh, not really.
You called them
just double X games.
Double X. Okay.
So they just essentially practice games which determine. I think they determine at least what split you go into. So Ash and Watson.
Okay.
I still don't know how that all works.
No.
So VC, obviously you get your top 20 teams,
Yes.
and then it splits off into Ash and then Watson.
Okay.
and then your top 5 teams from each pool form and create VC champs, and then the bottom 5 create VC
reserve.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys landed in.
VC champs.
Well done.
Which is good. I was very excited. The boys were very pumped.
Yep.
It was good. I think that it definitely was the place they strive to be. They obviously were there in under 12s. I think they came 9th.
Okay.
So they obviously wanted to
reserve.
have. Yeah. Oh no, so they came 9th in champs, I believe.
Okay.
But they obviously wanted to do better.
Yes, right.
They wanted to do better, and they wanted to, get to Classic again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they made it actually under 12, but they wanted to get to Classic, and they wanted to play at the highest level. So they really wanted it.
Yep.
Which was good. Yeah.
So then through the season, how did it go?
So throughout the season, we
I know I saw a couple of games.
Yeah.
It's awesome basketball to watch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good basketball. I think what we did was we had a week-to-week approach. So I remember getting them all into a room with their parents, and because obviously you get the VC draw and you see all the teams, and you're going to go, wow, like all these teams are good, and you kind of get a bit worried. And I was just like, don't worry about it. I think it's week by week. So let's say week 1 we have this club.
Yep.
That's all we should be worried about, and then you just tick it off one by one. So week 1 is club X, right? You play them, you have a game plan, you train Sunday and your midweek.
Yep.
Obviously your Sunday training is a bit more skill orientated, and your midweek can be more defensive and tactical strategy wise. And then we come out with the plan, we do our best to execute, and then we come out on Friday prepared. And usually we like to have what I call plan A, B, and C. So plan A, if this happens, and if that plan A doesn't work, we have a plan B, and if plan B doesn't work, we have a plan C, and if all 3 fail, then we've probably lost the game.
So is that a plan for the whole game as a like an overall or each play?
So more the whole game. So we might have a plan A, for example, like we want to slow this team down and play them in the half court, and that might not work because for whatever reason, like let's say they're in, just rebounding and getting out and trend, it's just not working. So then our plan B might be, all right, we might do a 1-2-2 press just to slow them down. Because obviously if you're in a 1-2-2, you set up 3-quarter court and they have to break it, which will take time in order to get past half and slow them down a bit. So just, stuff like that can be defensive and offensive. Like, obviously offensively you can try beat teams in the half court, you can try beat teams in transition. So kind of have a plan A, B, and C. And that might be a tactic thing as well, like double ball screens or blitz and all that. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I think what it does is, and we never really get to plan C, I found, but it gives the players a sense of protection. Like I was
going to say, like fallback and security almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a safety break, I think. It's you have, obviously this is a plan, and if things don't go well, let's say we go down by 10 or 15, they're not like, oh my God, this game's done. It's okay, we move on to plan B. And then it's plan C. And then if all 3 fail, then we
probably got beaten.
We probably got beaten, and we reassess, and then, we usually do a film session maybe, and we see what went wrong.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, cool.
So you went through the season.
Yeah, went through the season. We started off hot. We won. So we had to win 8 games got you to nationals.
Okay.
And so we were I think 8-1. Yeah,
okay.
that was the record.
Yep.
And it was down. So we'd won come that week to week approach, and then it hit Keilor. So that was the big one, right? So at this point of time, Diamond Valley had already beat them.
Okay.
Which means whoever won the game between us or Keilor was in nationals. And that was an away game at Keilor.
Oh, the stakes got high.
Yeah. So again, Keilor was the team that won VC champs in the end. But playing them away, we had to really prepare for that one.
Yeah.
That was a huge game, and we knew that it had to be everything on the line.
Yep.
There was no second chance. If we wanted to go to Perth, this was the game.
Yep.
We came out, the plan, we got there, boys got there early, did their rolling, got into the mindset, and you should have just seen them. They were just locked in from the start. Like they weren't even talking, mucking around. They were just there. They were there to kill. And they came out, we jumped them early. Like, I think we went up by 12 early.
Brilliant.
And just held on and held on and held on. And Keilor tried different things. We adapted. They ended up making a final run in the end as well. It caught very close up to us, and that's where we went into our plan B, which was we're going to slow this game down.
Yeah,
We're up by 12. We had gotten a couple 24-second violations, and I was telling the boys, like, don't worry. Like, this is okay. Like, a 24-second violation is better than chucking up a quick shot.
Yeah.
So we got through that phase. And
because I suppose a 24-second violation is a stoppage rather than a transition.
Correct.
Like a rebound that's just going to go barreling back down the other end.
So if we've moved the ball for 24 seconds and haven't gotten a shot, essentially half a minute's been taken off the clock. Yeah. And then the ball goes sideline. We can reset our defense. So now you're attacking us in a 5v5 setting as opposed to a...
And not to mention, you've got the time to set that up and defend it the way you want it defended.
Yeah, 100%.
Not, oh, crap.
Yeah.
It's a scramble after that, isn't it?
Yeah, because even if you take a shot at 20 and the ball misses and they rebound it, they're off to the races. And if we don't have the transition defense down in line, it could be a 2-on-1 advantage, 3-on, and that's what you don't want in the end game. You just want to be guarding them 5v5. You want to,
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, so there was that. I think they ended up getting like a couple of stops in a row, and we started to worry, so I didn't call it a timeout, and reassuring that just trust it, like we've got it, and then we hit a layup which opened it up again, and then that was kind of like the.
So you guys won that game. Brilliant.
Won that game, and that was what locked us into Nationals.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so that was good. Yeah,
great. All right, so you beat Keilor.
Yeah.
Made your way to Nationals.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, Nationals was a great experience. Yep. We had obviously picked up 2 extra kids from the 2s, took a squad of 12. So, again, that buy-in from the kids and more so the parents for Nationals, because that's a big one. You're going interstate, you're understanding that we're here to win. So it's a big commitment. It's a costly commitment, and it's a huge one. So I think,
and Perth's a long way away.
It's a long way away. Yeah. So the Perth journey was great. I think the main thing was we wanted to tackle obviously doing our best to win, enjoying it a bit. Like that's like you're in Perth as a team of 12, and as a group of parents. Like this is it's a memory. So I think,
of course,
it's one to not only base it off the win.
National doesn't influence the local competition at all, does it?
No.
It's a completely independent.
Yeah, it's a Basketball Australia ran.
Yeah, okay.
So your top teams from all the states.
Okay.
All come and play. So 24.
Yep.
24 teams. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how did you guys go?
So we got put in a pretty tough pool. We had the number one. Well, we had the team that won it.
Okay.
In our first pool, and we had the number 1 Adelaide team, and then we had the number 4 New South Wales team.
Right.
So we ended up losing the very first game.
Okay.
Then we beat Logan Thunder, who haven't lost in a year, right after. So
wow.
We went 1-1. Then we beat Bankstown. Percentage-wise wasn't enough, and we ended up dropping to 3rd.
Okay.
So we ended up playing a Shield game and got kicked out of the top 12. But it was good to know that we beat the team that won it all.
Absolutely.
So,
and moreover, as you said, the experience.
Yeah.
Everything about the experience. Ultimately, it's you went there and you had some wins.
Yeah.
You had some losses.
Correct.
You know what the best in the country looks like now.
Yeah.
And that's invaluable, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. So the only other thing that I wanted to cover off, which is something you had brought up, which was what the process looks like for players and parents.
Yes.
That parent involvement. Talk us through that a little bit.
So the way that I like to do it is I like to, at the start of the season, get all the parents in with the athletes and make it a joint effort. As in, as much as the kid and the athlete has to commit, it's as much as the parent to be on that same level. So I'm very big on honest and open communication.
Okay.
Straight away. There's no really sugarcoating. It's, this is how it is, and this is how, this is how you can help. Because I think when parents don't know, they question and they question and they question, and that becomes a loophole, and then they're saying the wrong things to their kids.
Yeah, it becomes a conflict.
It becomes a conflict, and then their kids' performance goes down, their minutes go, and it's, for me, it's just more about no sugarcoating. It's straight. This is what it is. This is the role. There might be opportunity to play a different role. There might not be, but this is how it is. And this is how I tell them very early at selections, after selections, when we roll into grading phase 1, because if they're not happy, there's always room to switch. Kid.
Right, okay.
There's always room to switch. Grading,
but you've got that opportunity because you've had that honest conversation with the parents.
Correct, yeah. So, and that's where it comes backwards. There's not as much, questions throughout the season from parents because it was all set at the start of the season. This is what it is. And if you're not willing to accept it, then we gave you the offer to move. To change earlier. So, and I think and I try to look at it in a positive way, I like to make them involved. So as I, give a training plan to a kid, the athlete, the parent knows what it is. So again, they're not working on things that they shouldn't be working on that won't help on their Friday night games or. And a lot of these parents want to help, which is a good thing. Like a lot of them do it. Like a lot of the criticism from parents come from a good place. Like they want their kids to do better. And I think as coaches, all the coaches want the kids to do better, but there's 10 of them, right? So, and then there's 10 of them, and then there's a priority and to win, and there's all that. So I think, I said, the open communication and just telling them how it is, and the best thing that I always say is like the film doesn't lie. So it's like if there is an area that we coach and a parent might not agree with, we might play it on film and in front of the athlete, so we can get on the same page here.
So I think that's actually a really important point that we as coaches can share with newer coaches or even any coaches really is the importance of that communication. Because I know, for example, that I've made sure when I've spoken to particularly rep coaches for Xavier's, I've said, what message do you want me to share with him on the drive home? Because there's no point him having one conversation with the coach at the end of the game who says, oh, look, your defense was great. And your offense needs work. And then me sitting in the car on the hour's drive home from Werribee saying, look, I think, your defense really needs to be picked up. That's very, very conflicting for a young...
Especially for a 14s or a 12s athlete. They're still learning and they're confused and and that's where it kind of results. And obviously some of the parents without a basketball background, the easiest thing to think if your kid's playing good is the score.
The score.
And, the score. And that's the thing. It's your ride home is usually you didn't score enough or that. And for the athlete, the younger athlete, they just don't know any better. And they believe that. And then it becomes a loophole into the wrong cycle because...
Vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a nasty cycle. So that's why I'm like... It's I don't expect the parents to know basketball, but I'm going to explain it to the best of my ability, so then it makes sense to a parent.
And I think that we're inviting them to come and have that conversation with us, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's going to be, as you say, that's going to create the best outcomes.
Yeah,
even if it's a little bit uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah. 100%.
Let's just have the conversation. Get it out on the table and talk about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, So the parent involvement is key to...
It's really important.
Yeah, it's key to getting a successful team because, parents, if they all come together and they all want it, they all support all the kids on floor and they're not, picking one out and all that, because that's when it just, so you need the parents as together as much as the kids, and they don't have to be... Like I said to the players and parents, you don't have to be best friends. No. You just need to,
just align your thinking.
Yeah, cheer on, support. Yeah, be a good person. And I think it just goes a long way.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
mate, I love that. That's this sort of conversation is exactly why I love doing this.
Yeah.
Because there's so much good positive energy to feed into our sport, this sport we love. So it's been a really great chat, and I really appreciate you coming along and sharing some insights. It's been grouse.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I like to use the word grouse as many times as I can just to annoy my kids. But thanks very much, Jerome. Great to have you.
No worries. Thank you.
That's it for today's Fast Break chat on Coach to Coach. Thanks for listening. I'm Jace, and I'll catch you next time.